This is an Iwebu production.
Period.
Here recently, I was scrolling around on YouTube and I came up on a podcast, YouTube, and they were talking about just black women and them being led astray. It was a pretty interesting conversation, but I want to bring you guys in on it. Check this clip out right here.
Across the board, black women are the lowest in terms of dating and marrying. In fact, actually, black women are high in dating because we give up sex the most. We're for the streets. We're twerking. We're doing the most. We dominate rap in the culture that is very sexual, especially in the U.S. So a lot of men see us as easy targets to have sex with. And we have the highest rate of having children outside of marriage, wedlock. And so men see us as bed wenches, easy to have sex with, but they don't see us as valuable wives. Our culture, especially in the U.S., I don't know how it is in the UK. I know it's a little different, but our family structure is so broken and so destroyed that we really, the majority of black women in the U.S., we've been put into a position of just being, sexual, just for a man's sexual pleasure. But if they're going to take a woman serious, that's why you see a lot of black men when they become successful, they're not marrying us. I mean, they do. Okay, let me say this. 80% of black men are marrying black women, even when they're successful. But there is a huge thing where a lot of black men are going to other races. Why? And a lot of women don't understand. They say the man is racist. No, the culture that woman may have been brought up in, her submissiveness, in our culture, we're being rebellious, dressing provocative. It's standard. It is standard. We hate ourselves a lot. We hate our own hair. We want our butts to be the fattest. We pride ourselves on things of being bosses, having the fattest booty, being able to twerk the best, but not intrinsic values that is a wife. And to speak to Maggie, like we talk about like colorism in our culture, because I think race is not just race, but it's colorism within our own culture where they prefer light skin, they prefer this, that, and the other. I tell you on God, an attitude like Maggie, a lot of men, like regardless of anything, like, to me, there's such a peace and an aura about her that a lot of women can learn from of every race, but particularly in the black community, that's not standard model, like who she is. Like if you come around Maggie, you just feel loved on. You feel like home. And so I think a lot of black women can retain that. But if we're talking about race, we're talking about black women. Let's just be honest about it. We're talking about black women, we have the lowest marriage rates. We have the highest birth rates outside of marriage. Why is that? We have the highest number of abortions. And our behavior and the culture we promote, if you look around the world, look at our rappers, look at the culture. Most men see us as sexual tools.
Wow. I'm blown away by that. And just to shout out the actual podcast, it's King Rich's podcast. I believe it's out the UK. I think he's a Red Pill guy. But
you said shout out to him?
That's the podcast. I want to make sure they know where it comes from. It comes from King Rich's podcast. And that is Melanie King that we heard speak there. She's a very prominent name in, I guess, what they call the Red Pill community. Red Pill community, they're based off the Matrix, is basically saying they're the reality pill when it comes to relationships. So they spit it how they feel like they spit it how it truly is. I don't agree with all their views.
And she's Red Pill?
She's very well known. Actually, from what I've heard, allegedly, she is a protege of Kevin Samuels. And we know how hard Kevin Samuels goes. So if you heard that clip and you like, ooh, gosh, Lee, she didn't have to just think about it. Kevin Samuels held no punches there.
Do you think people going to feel like that was harsh what she said?
I believe that some would. She kind of talked really bad about black. But so, I guess I would ask you.
I'm built different.
I guess I would ask you, babe, are many modern day black women, are they led astray like what she's saying?
Wow. So the simple fact that this is, I guess, controversial is actually quite bizarre to me. So that's also how I know my thinking might be set up a little different. I was actually telling a friend one time about the Red Pill community that I just found out. And remember, I'll tell you, I'm like, should I be seeing some clips? I'm like, I mean, they are saying the truth about like, yeah, when you got 7,000 bodies, you might not be the first pick to get married. So I know for some women, I'm also a very different. Well, Namdi tells me that I'm a different type of woman.
You're
that
a different breed, babe.
I can receive something like that and be like, that's kind of true. I mean, I'm sorry, what's your question though?
I said, are modern day black women, are they led astray?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so.
Just by this culture.
Yes, I think it's, and the thing is, it's literally not our fault. Like, it's literally not our fault. I don't even want to go so far back into like slavery and then just the black woman and how unimportant, unprotected, misled, unguided, like no direction. The what was the era where the men were all and crack took everybody out, and like I mean, it's literally not our fault. So because of society, culture, racism, neglect, injustice, I mean, just so many different layers, women have been forced to either be masculine or just because they're not guided or led, or there's no examples of a structured Black family. They follow hip hop. And hip hop tells us to be naked, to give it up, to, if you want to go somewhere, this is what it looks like to be successful. And I'm just so saddened. Just to tap on the part where she talked about we're giving up sex the most. A few reasons I blame that on is the porn industry and hip hop. If you are making it popular to be a woman who's naked in the video scenes and always around the rappers and getting flued out and getting the hotels, well, you ain't gonna have a sugar daddy without giving up sugar. You're not gonna have this type of lifestyle supplied by men without the exchange of intimacy. But again, this might sound normal to a woman that has been brought up decently, like, of course, like, but you got to think about women who only had a mother around, right? No father in the household. So her mother was working. So she really didn't guide her. She protected her and she provided for her, but she didn't set her down and say, this is how you dress when you get around men. I remember when I was being brought up, my mom and my dad always like, hey, when men come around, you don't just bend over in the middle of the living room and do the splits. And, you know, even as a kid, like, be mindful. Everybody's not taught that, and common sense isn't common sense. So again, I don't blame the women, but it's our culture that we're in. It's a sad part of just the direction of marriage, identity, of femininity, women. Like, it's just all around being broken down. And so I feel like the only reason why I might not connect with this young lady a little bit, because I do feel like she might have a little bit of judgmentalness, you know, a little sprinkle of judgment in there. But I get it. I understand it. If you are not guided, if you do not have a mother or a father that is telling you what to do, or you're just, I don't want to say it like this, but just, maybe don't have the strongest mind and not a leader, you will follow the ways of the world. It seems easier. It seems fun. Like being modest in this day's age. Like I tell you all the time, I'm like, baby, trying to find a modest dress, modest tops, most time I have to shop thrift or do something vintage because everything's so tight. Everything is so cut short, cut low. And so it's not our faults. We have to work extra hard to build ourselves up. But I'm sorry, what's the question again?
Yeah, no, or modern.
Are we led astray? Yes.
Led astray.
Of course, we're led astray. Of course, the women that are on your timeline twerking. I mean, I don't know why this name comes to my mind, but even someone like Sierra who had a modest kind of classiness way about her. I mean, all I see is her booty now. And so you see
she's
women,
a
married woman and supposedly a Christian.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of our subscribers told us that.
Yeah.
And so, and speaking to that comment when someone was like, well, why are we talking about Black women? Because again, it's the Black women that they're putting on the forefront, and the Black women with the statistics of not being married, and the Black women having the most kids out of wedlock. So we have to confront that. And then I just also have to say this, like the delusion that okay, let me bring it back because I'm trying to be nicer these days. We can be delusional too. Like we can really think we can be out here bad. And then when we turn 37, we want to settle down with a history of just no identity, don't know yourself, or just no ownership of why you are where you are. So I don't blame it on the individual woman. I blame it on culture, and I blame it on just the Black family structure.
Yeah, I really just piggyback off of what you said. You said everything really perfectly. It comes down, for me, I always think back to the root. That's just the way I think. And the root cause of this, we can go from slavery and then also to households being split up, fathers being put in jail with the crack epidemic and the bills that were passed during that time. And then you started to see more and more single mothers. Then you started to see more and more younger mothers. So now you got babies raising babies. And so sometimes it's half and half. It's like some of it is actually our fault, the lady's fault. And then some of it is kind of like based off of just really how the system has set up some things, man.
Culture.
Yeah, culture.
Yeah.
And so when you only got moms there and you raised by MTV, BET, and all of that, you grow up looking at that. Even as a man, go ahead.
I just want to say this. I can't even think about how white families, Asians, how marriage is a conversation.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. Black women are told to become nurses, be independent, and pay your own bills. Don't depend on no man.
Independent. One of the biggest songs was Boosie, INDEPE.
Yeah, like
they thought that's supposed to be dope.
They're literally led to like be masculine. Like don't you better not pay. And it's almost, it went from that to like, okay, if you do get some money from a man, like give up your sex. It's empowering to be sexually liberated, and at least you get in a bag.
Ain't that like what the City Girls give?
Yeah, that's everybody right now. City Girls, Megan Thee Stallion, almost every female rapper. Like it's this whole thing of. So when you said culture, it made me think about like how Asians and it's you're getting married. Yeah. And even I'm sorry, this is my last thing. No, baby, remember the other day, I don't know what I had on, and you was like, you need to cover up, or you said something like that, and you was like, that's why
that big old trunk on you be.
Baby, it's not that. Crazy.
Man.
Anyways.
Well, I'll be blessed. I'll be seeing that trunk, but I'll be like, hey, you better put a hoodie over that mug, the hoodie cross that mug over it.
I don't think I'm supposed to put a hoodie across my waist when you
cute wear sweats
dress.
And I need a hoodie over that thing.
Yeah,
It's a distraction.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
So I had on something, and he was like, "That's why you said some culture have their head wraps and have and have their have them like
sometimes
the
in
whole
the Indian
things.
culture they have some of that going on.
But it reminds me, and it connected me back to actually Christianity and modesty that women are supposed to walk in, because it actually is a protective layer for us. Yeah. When you are out here bad, I talked about it actually on Tapping with TK about how different type of men don't approach me anymore because I'm covered up. But when I had things swinging and hanging, it's like you ever had a dude try to talk to you like, now sir, I know you don't think you can talk to me, and it's like, I know I can, because you out here clearly not loving yourself because you're showing everything. So I just had to point that out. Even culturally, women in different cultures are taught to cover up, and they're taught to prepare for marriage.
Yeah,
or not.
They're taught that from birth, and there's most white families, they will see their mom and dad in the household from the beginning and all those things. And so unfortunately, that's why you see us here. We're really big on preaching about, hey, what you're doing in your single life, how you're dating and not having sex outside of marriage and all that, because it just continues to have this cycle and it's never going to get better with all these blended families. Listen, we're people who have a blended family here, and we've had to deal with some of those consequences of it. I got a oldest daughter that's led astray right now. And again, it's because, I ended up making a decision when I was really young. And me and her mother are on two different wavelengths when it comes to mindset, and she adopted to the mother's style as far as that goes again. And so now we continue this cycle with the women. Like, I can see it. I can see how it's happening. Now my daughter's deceived in some certain ways, and she may fit in some of the subjects that she's talking about, or if she continues to do some of the things that she's doing as far as that goes. And so it sucks that she's telling the truth.
Yeah,
it sucks that she really is telling the truth about all of this, and we just really need a lot of women. That's why I push a lot of women towards you. I say, hey, check out some of these Christian hip hop artists like yourself and Portia and Wande and all that, because you all, from what I've seen, have held yourself up in a better way and have a higher standard than what we see in this hip hop culture. Let's make this clear. Hip hop is number one. It used to be pop, but the biggest influencer, the most streams come from hip hop. Why are you talking about music? We talking about women being led astray. where do you think that most of them get their influence from? It comes from what's going in the gate. We're going to say this all the time. What's going on in your ear gate? What's going in your eye gate? Okay? A lot of times what we're seeing on TikToks and all this is people, black women dancing provocatively to, hip hop music. Absolutely. That's saying some of the raunchiest things in it.
They don't even care what they're dancing to.
No, they don't care about none of that.
That song called, you remember Throat Baby?
I ain't never heard of that.
Oh my gosh.
Lord, I ain't never heard that. Dang. They got a song called Throat Baby? Dang. Well, yeah. Dang, they got really vulgar now.
And it was very popular.
Wow. That's
very.
I'm
so glad you're disconnected.
Yeah, I'm way man. Listen, y'all, don't make me. Please listen. I ain't old, y'all. I don't keep that connected. Yeah. I may stay connected on a few shows.
Well, you just don't have time. You're not on your
I don't got time. None of that. But that's what we're seeing them doing, and these kids are growing up and seeing the same thing, and they believe that it's cute to have a baby mama, baby daddy. They talk about it like a surprise or something. Like it's just crazy, and yes, we're led astray. All the other cultures, they haven't, a lot of them. I'm not saying and fully they do.
Right.
And I'm not saying that all black women. We're not generalizing here. We're not saying that all black women are like this. We're just saying a good majority of though. And or led astray by what the culture is displaying out there. And so that's why we continue to say, hey, we want to push kingdom.
Yes.
We want you guys to go check out the TK Lees and say, hey, let your daughters listen to this. So unfortunately our black sisters will continually be led astray.
Yeah.
And until another example is pushed to the forefront.
Yes.
And that's why they continue to suppress. Like, I listen, and I'm sorry, I'm always on music. This is just my thing. This is just my lane. But they continue. I listen to this music, and sometimes I'll run across what's the hottest song out there. And I'm like, I'm amazed. I'm amazed, just and not just on the women forefront, but I'm amazed, like, why is, like, KB and Lecrae and all that, like, we talk about, I hear sometimes like brothers like Charlamagne and them talk about how as a culture we need to do this or that better, right? But they continue to push all these the most terrible trash out there on the radio stations and think that it's gonna get better.
First of all, music has an agenda.
Right.
All the time.
Yes.
Whether the artist that is releasing it knows it or not.
Right. And they don't even live their life.
No.
They don't even live. Half of them don't live the life that they're even talking about.
Beverly Hills.
Like it's like selling. It's just a new form, almost to me, of selling crack. You understand?
Yeah.
Like you selling something to your people that you don't even do yourself.
Absolutely.
Like you selling that to them, and so that's why I say that's where I believe the culture is messed up. Is what we're a lot of times it's coming from what we're listening to, and what we're seeing.
Yes.
And what we need to do is just replace that with the right things. So therefore, we're not continuing this cycle, man. It hurts to say that what she's talking about on this clip.
We feel like,
it's pretty much 100% true.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Do you believe that black women are led astray? Do you agree with what she's saying in this clip? We want to know below. Let us know. This is an Iwebu production.
Period.
Hey, thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you could do us a huge favor, please hit that like button and please subscribe.
Yes, and please do not forget to hit that notification bell. We need y'all to be locked in every single time we drop this fire content.
Yes.
Also, we need y'all to follow us on all social media platforms at the Iwebus. And look, we will see y'all on the next video.
Holla.